Okay, yeah. What I was thinking was, to be honest, if you really studied why do they pretend that masculine gay men don't exist? And they don't quite outright say they don't exist because they do. They just silent. They're just 100% silent about it, monolithically. The whole entire media and academia pretend they don't exist just through their silence without actually denying their existence. Well, if you admitted that masculine gay men existed and were not the same as the more feminine ones, um, you would be required to write articles and report on them and acknowledge their existence as a separate group, and then you're required to study them in the first place. Well, what would that study find? It would inevitably lead to an indictment of feminists and religious right for their hatred of locker room culture. The sexually explicit locker room culture that straight men participate in too, but it is almost as if masculine gay men can't really meet one another, or they have no structure to meet one another other than going to the parks or the online hookup sites or whatever, except for that locker room culture, which is almost like a sexualized form of speech that straight men engage in with each other, where they may talk about girls to one another, and there is something almost homosexual about it because it helps them turn themselves on with women when they do that, even if they're not attracted to a guy. But then you have the continuum where you have bisexuals, and then you have masculine gay men. If you're a masculine gay man, you're perfectly capable of participating in that and speaking to straight men as if they're equals. So it's that locker room culture, that inclusion that allows for bisexuals and gay men who are masculine and participate in that. They participate in that as if they were straight, maybe, but then they take it further and will then hook up with one another. Or at least that potentially could happen in the right circumstances. There's the potential for society to be structured just right so that, straight men, but if that happened, straight men would not necessarily, a lot of straight men would potentially be a little bit more open-minded about some of the gay stuff, because it's not really, there's no reason why I don't think there's a big reason why they would mind it necessarily. But anyway, yeah, it's that indictment of the locker room culture that's homophobic, basically. And see, gay men who are, it's homophobic against masculine gay men, and in a way that is extremely damaging. And the monolithic silence about it, the pretense that it doesn't exist, is what is necessary to ensure that nobody can sue for discrimination or hate. And say, I'm a masculine gay man, you're a bigot and you're a hater. And you make me uncomfortable with your dogma. I know I'm unwelcome because of your dogma, and I'm going to sue because you declared this is unlawful discrimination. Well, to do unlawful discrimination, you have to have a theory. And what's the theory? The only theory that's out there is the absolutely numbskull theory of Catherine McKinnon that pretends that among gays you have masculinity and femininity, and the masculine ones are the tops and the feminine ones are the bottoms, and the tops do and the bottoms do the feminine ones do the receptive sex, and the masculine ones do the non-receptive sex. And I mean, I guess if you Okay, so then what? So I have to sue, and I have to hire her as an expert witness. I sue. I'm a masculine gay man being discriminated against. Her garbage. She just said that she said somewhere, and she's the expert witness that I sue. Of course, her expertise is what is designed to ensure that men who engage in locker room banter are actually haters and discriminators against women. That's the court decisions have gone and decided that locker room banter can be outlawed because of hostilities towards women based on that type of asinine theory. This is the same thing. I mean, this was part of a whole trend with the Supreme Court. Brown versus Board of Education outlawed segregation because why? Some psychologist within academia said, but it makes black people feel inferior. Which again puts black people in the same status as women who've been, treated unchivalrously enough, treated roughly rather than chivalrously. Which, regardless of what you think about segregation, the whole notion of having the court defer to the psychology profession within academia, fresh after they imported so much of their science from Nazi Germany after World War II. That takes the cake. And then that creates a legally explicit inferiority is the only thing you can sue for, whereas I won't go into any more detail on that now because to explore the rest of it is too complicated.